What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. Today, we're going to talk about J.J. Watt being released from the Houston Texans, and we're going to talk about some mutually beneficial partners that we think could sign him as he chases a ring. All that and much more coming your way right now. All right, Nick. Well, we got some news earlier in the day that J.J. Watt has been released from the Houston Texans. And I can't say this comes as a complete shock, but I believe the Houston Texans did the absolute right thing here.
No, I mean, when we were talking about just a week ago, J.J. Watt and where he might be traded, we did mention that there was a possibility they would just end up releasing him because of the salary cap issues and the health issues and how hard it might be to trade a guy who's being paid that much amount of money. So we're finally at that place. He's been released, not officially until the league year starts, but I think there are a few teams out there that should be pursuing J.J. Watt and that he should be truly considering. And it all starts with the Los Angeles Rams. And I believe the Los Angeles Rams, who are just a couple pieces away from making it to another Super Bowl, they just made a huge acquisition with Matthew Stafford, trading away Jared Goff. That is one massive step in the right direction. They can make another massive step in the right direction by signing J.J. Watt. Him alongside Aaron Donald, two guys who have three Defensive Player of the Year awards each. Right next to each other would be absolutely amazing. One of the hardest defenses to stop already. They were the number one defense in 2020. They add one of the best defensive ends of all time and pair him with one of the best defensive tackles of all time, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for every offense they face. And I believe that this is a huge weapon that they should really look into.
I love J.J. Watt on the Rams. I think this makes a lot of sense here. And J.J. Watt, while he has his questions with health concerns and all the injuries that have mounted up over the years, the fact remains that he has been leaned on to be the focal point of a defense for the entire 10-year stint that he had with the Houston Texans. If he goes to the Los Angeles Rams, he is going to be another cog in the system that centers around Aaron Donald. He's going to actually get one-on-one matchups with tackles that he hasn't seen in years. I think this would be absolutely incredible, and I can't even imagine trying to be the offensive coordinator or offensive line coach that has to figure out a way to block Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt at the same exact time. I mean, I like him on the Rams. I think that's a good point. But one team, and we say it a lot, but you always have to consider this team, the New England Patriots. I think the New England Patriots have to be mentioned here. And I think that they're probably one of the least likely scenarios that he ends up. But I do want to say that he is always had a very good admiration for Bill Belichick and the system that they have run in New England. I believe that Bill Belichick has shown his admiration. He has worn his emotions on his sleeves when it comes to J.J. Watt, even 2 years ago calling him the most disruptive pass rusher in the NFL. And that was just 2 years ago. Bill Belichick loves these guys who love the game of football, who are extremely intelligent, and they do everything that they need to. They come in, do their work, and they show up and show out. They are leaders for the team, both on and off the field. J.J. Watt is a culture fit in New England, and he checks off a huge pass rushing piece that the Patriots need just to get back into contention for another title.
Yeah, I really think the Patriots are always a team that needs to be considered. I mean, whenever you go on Twitter and there's somebody that was just released, you always see that meme of Bill Belichick walking out of the tunnel. And I think that you can't ever sleep on Bill Belichick and what he's thinking about, because he's always chasing another ring. But I think there's somebody else that's constantly chasing another ring, and that is pretty good at what he does, and has a pretty solid resume that's going to lure JJ Watt to his new team, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Tom Brady has proven enough. I think he has shown that it doesn't matter where he is, he can bring home a championship. And when we look at it, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to stay pretty intact. Most of this defense is pretty young. They're going to lose a couple pass rushers, but that's where JJ Watt comes in. They're going to fill that void with him. He will be able to take on the roles that Shaq Barrett is going to leave behind, and then some. JJ Watt, for many, many years, was able to do unreal things by himself, and now he'll be able to lean on other guys like Devin White and Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul to help in that pass rush. With Todd Bowles' system, I think this is a really strong fit, and he knows that that the other side of the ball is going to hold up as long as Tom Brady is around.
Yeah, I mean, again, if he's looking to chase a ring and if he's looking to actually win, which it seems like this move was all about, I believe that you have to take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, surely they'll be losing Shaq Barrett, and we can discuss in another video about where he's going to end up. But that's a huge void that they're going to have to fill. And JJ Watt, while they don't play the same position, can fill the void of the pass rush that he will leave behind. The Buccaneers will have to figure out how to replicate his pass coverage skills, but that's a different story for another time. I believe that JJ Watt definitely fits the Buccaneer system and what they're trying to do. Him next to Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul, that four-man front would be absolutely phenomenal to trot out there against any offense. And we already saw what he did against the Chiefs. Imagine that against any other offense out there. Another team that I think you guys have to take a look at would probably be the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for no other reason than the fact that both of his brothers play on this team. Derek Watt is the starting fullback, and TJ Watt, well, we all know about TJ. I mean, he is one of the best outside linebackers. If JJ Watt doesn't go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is one of the biggest missed opportunities that we've ever seen in the NFL. JJ on Pittsburgh would not only help the Steelers get into title contention, but he would also be reunited with his brothers. His family wouldn't have to cut their time in between Houston and Pittsburgh and back and forth. They could go to every single Steelers game and not have to worry, assuming that, they are COVID safe and the protocols are in place. With that being said, I think JJ Watt makes a lot of sense here. And again, we saw how that defense kind of withered away toward the end of the 2020 NFL season. I think we have to say JJ Watt could definitely help with some of that next to Cam Hayward and some of these guys that have, been around on this defense. The Steelers are not too far removed from a top 5 defense. JJ Watt can help them get right back there.
Yeah, I mean, it was this past season that the Pittsburgh Steelers went the longest time without losing a game. And they were just, they had all the pieces, they just couldn't put it together. Well, now they're going to have a full offseason to prepare and get ready, and a lot of the AFC is going to stay the same as far as the top teams are considered. I mean, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be pretty much where they were. If the Pittsburgh Steelers can add a guy like JJ Watt, that could be enough to put them ahead of both of those teams and atop the AFC. The Pittsburgh Steelers are very, very close to putting it all together, and they're running out of time with Ben Roethlisberger about to retire in the next couple of years. So they really need to be pedal to the metal and try to do whatever they can to get JJ Watt and other veteran players who are looking to chase a ring right now. So I really like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and as you said, he's got 2 brothers on there already. He's going to want to complete the trifecta and join them. So it's going to be a very, very tough decision for him to make moving forward. There is one final place that may hold a stronger spot in his heart that is more near and dear to him than playing with his two brothers, and that's going home to Wisconsin and playing in Green Bay for the Packers. The Green Bay Packers were the best team in the NFC last year. Aaron Rodgers won his third NFL MVP award. This team was so close to going to the Super Bowl, and what would have looked like destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs and won a Super Bowl. I mean, they just need to get a couple wide receivers and fix a little bit of this pass rush on defense. JJ Watt can fill half of the void that this team has, and he'll be able to do it in his home state where he has played the majority of his NFL career, not just in professional sports, but in his lifetime. So I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to be a very, very strong target for him this offseason.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like the Green Bay Packers. I think that it makes a lot of sense. And, he's always held an admiration for the state of Wisconsin, obviously being from there and going to school at the University of Wisconsin. I mean, clearly the guy has some ties there, and it only makes sense to be paired up with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, coming off his third MVP, as you mentioned. Listen, the Smith brothers are there and they do an incredible job, but they need some help on that defense. And Kenny Clark can't be triple teamed every single time. I think if you add JJ Watt to this defense, you are going to bolster them and then some. I believe he could have been the missing piece that the Packers were missing this year to get past the Buccaneers, because at that point you now have JJ Watt, Kenny Clark, and the Smith brothers all coming after Tom Brady, when without JJ Watt, it's much easier to game plan against. I think JJ Watt would provide this team with the necessary pass rush that they need to be able to repeat as the number one team in the NFC and make it back to Aaron Rodgers' second Super Bowl in his career. And before we go, I know you mentioned that the Packers were our final team, but I have one dark horse that I want everybody to think about. And it came as a little surprise, but the Dallas Cowboys are in play for JJ Watt's services because JJ Watt has not wanted to leave the state of Texas, and he has made that known. On top of the fact that it looks like DeMarcus Lawrence might be texting him, trying to persuade him to stay in Texas. We know what the city of Houston has meant to JJ Watt. We know what JJ Watt has meant to the city of Houston. Obviously, all of that it is going to be remembered, but if he can stay in the state of Texas, I think we need to take a look at the Dallas Cowboys. I don't want, they are definitely a dark horse team. They have enough on their plate as far as trying to re-sign Dak Prescott, but overall, I believe that if there's one team out there that we didn't mention, it was the Dallas Cowboys. I think you definitely have to take a look at them and say there's a possibility he could end up right there in Dallas Cowboy blue and white. All right, that'll do it all for now. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all for now. Peace and love.